Tracking the Path Travel. And I would like to welcome my guest that I have here with me, Chef Chris Himes. And we will be talking today about holistic, um, let me use the correct terminology. Will you help me out with that?
Holistic health.
Holistic health. So if you will, share, let's go with the definition. Let's start with the definition of holistic health. And then we're going to go into some more further details so that our viewing audience will understand. So,
Yeah. So holistic health is what I consider the mother, right? The root, so to speak. It's everything natural based, right?
okay.
So that's why I consider the roots because when you think of trees, you think of the roots, the foundation. And so it is everything natural, just to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you would think of natural basis. So you're looking at it, that whole terminology goes from mindset, working on mindset, it can go to the foods, um, it can range from everything, but it's looking at the natural mindset or the natural frame of.
So, in thinking with that, when you're saying the natural, what make me think about it is when I go back to my great grandmother, my big mama, in the country where I used to go and spend some time with them, and they grew their food and had the gardens and uh, of course lived off the land. When they had the cows, literally, would milk the cow, make the butter, and all this kind of stuff. So then we're speaking about. It sounds like that we're speaking about something going back into to that particular format.
Yeah, definitely. So I've always been very intrigued with what I would consider my ancestors or ancient times, even
Right.
prior to ancestors. I would think about just ancient. If you look at the Indian cultures or
Right.
Native American, excuse me, think of Native American cultures,
Right.
right? Seeing how they practice different types of medicine or different
Right.
types of herbs
Right.
as far as that. So that is absolutely correct. Going back to what was lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that has been around for a while, but now, especially coming into this current time that we're in, you find a lot of people really going back to the roots, right? Going back to what is natural for us, what is better for us.
The body.
Right,
Right.
right. For the
Right.
body and for the mind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And when we do that, like you said, eating from the land, then we are getting, even when we're talking about the soil, having things is going to be a little bit more pure in growing your items. And from what I understand, you have a garden.
Right, right. Uh, Going back to the garden, a little bit more about me. Within that, I am what's called a holistic coach,
Okay.
a food chef. It's called a transitional food chef and coach.
Okay.
So it all ties into the garden. So what I do is I help women transition to a healthier lifestyle, holistic lifestyle by
Mm-hmm.
way of foods and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So that garden ties in. I have my own personal garden where I grow different types of herbs and different type of think about it, any type of food that I can grow in my backyard, I'm growing it,
Okay.
right? And yeah, so it all ties in with the garden.
I think I came through there and I saw some stalks of corn.
Yes, I have.
That took me all the way back to definitely the country when my Papa Benny used to walk through there. He would go through some of the areas, and my grandfather had a garden in the backyard, and he had the okra, and he had the mustard greens, and what have you. So this was something that was really, really neat. And of course, you guys, as we're going through and talking, y'all probably say, these two people look alike. Well, let me share with you why. This is my youngest daughter. So I am introducing you to my youngest daughter. And I am so very, very proud of the things that she has, that she's learned in this time frame. So now we're in the transitioning. And so let me ask you this, Chef Chris, why was it that you decided to work with the women in this transitioning of the foods and their holistic health? What was the reasoning for this?
So my reason for women, first, not only because I am a woman, but when I started the transition to holistic lifestyle, I went down what's called a rabbit hole. So I completely shut off everything and everyone to study. Once I realized, okay, I'm kind of intrigued with this. This is kind of making sense to me. I completely shut everything out to focus in on studying.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, when we're talking about this, the transition, just in case we have some persons that are not totally comprehending, prior to your transition, share with me what kind of foods were you eating?
Oh man, I would, and this was a part of the transition why I chose to work with women. For me, I would be what was called like a dessert junkie. So I
That's so
love
true.
desserts, anything bread, anything food in general, because culinary has always been my passion. I've been in
Right.
culinary industry for 12 years.
Right.
So anything food would go. I was one that was at every taco truck that was on the street because I wanted to try out the taco trucks. And it didn't matter how long the line is, it didn't matter what they look like, I was gonna try that taco truck. So when I really started paying more attention to my body,
Okay.
and paying more attention to my mind, then things kind of is what I call a jigsaw. And then that's when I went in that rabbit hole.
Okay.
So for me, why I choose to work with women, I want to help women that are coming to the mindset of, oh, I think I kind of like this holistic, whatever it may be, right? And but where do I start? What is it, first of all, right? What is it? Where do I start? Because there's so many different teaching avenues, and a lot of those teaching avenues talk about going from wherever you're eating at now. Let's say you are really poor in your eating methods, right? And then go ahead and do a fast, and then go straight into alkaline, or go straight into vegan or vegetarian, right? And that's not my method of teaching. I love studying from them, right? I love studying from all of those different types of teachers, but I realized for me, I needed to transition, right? I needed to work my way, just take things a little bit less at a time, because for me, I learned that if I completely grab that rug from underneath there, then sometimes you can go into a shock state, right?
Or, so the body will, okay, I'm understanding what you're saying.
Or you go into a relapse, right? So for me, one time I tried to cut myself off totally of sugar.
I remember.
And then I went into what you would really consider like, or how people would maybe have
a junkie, exactly.
We'll go into those types of states. So going through tremors or different things like that, because it's so addictive. So for what was best for me is I had to learn how to take things in stages, right? And then gradually, even though it was food, I really had to work on my mind. Because you can take food away, but if you don't understand the foundation of why I'm even eating this type of food, how does that even match? I'm feeling this type of way, I go to this type of food. If you don't have that mindset, then you will continue to make the same mistakes.
So it's a full understanding of why you do what you do. When you do what you do. Exactly.
Yeah, so I teach the understanding, I teach the knowledge part, how to work on your mindset, and then with that, I teach women the different foods. So we're working on your mindset, and we're working on your food. You're in your kitchen, right? Working on your pantry, we're working on your refrigerator, we're working on, what you're eating. And women, because I feel like we are the foundation of the home, right? We are the heart. I call it the heart of a home. And if we are not properly stabilized, or if our cup is not full, then we cannot pour back into our kids. We cannot pour back into our home. So if our mind, if our whatever we're cooking, if it's not filled correctly to whatever the person's standards of correct is, right? Whatever they feel comfortable with, then we just continue to pour back that into our family. So starting with the women is because we're the heart. Once you get to that heart and you begin to maneuver it and shape it how it needs to, then it fruits, the fruits of the labor are poured back into it.
And this is very interesting. I have no idea of knowing why, but the entire time I've always loved a lot of fruits and vegetables, and not that much meat. If I would consume meat, my number one meat is chicken. And during the first stages of this pandemic, I made a decision to start searching all the alkaline foods. And I think for about 3 months, I went in straight with just nothing but alkaline, and it's amazing how much better I felt, how much better I slept. My body function was just, it was just a lot more smoother.
Yeah.
So, and literally, you're correct. You end up having a more clear head.
Yeah.
You're being more cognitive. So, basically, when it gets back to what the books say, we are what we eat.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like people say you are what you eat. There are other different sayings for me. I understand that our food is our medicine. Right.
That's good. That is
Right,
good.
food is our medicine, and if we begin to really take the time out to pay attention to the foods that we eat, to our mindset, right? First, then the foods that we eat, then we can eliminate a lot of the health conditions that are within the Black communities, right?
Awesome.
And this is something that is missing. It's starting to be more noticed right now with the times, but this is something that's still missing within education.
Yes.
It's something that's still missing within Western medicine. I do believe that both should work hand in hand.
Exactly.
But it needs to work hand in hand. So we can not only just give medicine or prescribe, but to understand why we're prescribing
Exactly.
it. You know, to understand, okay, these are the foods you're eating. This is what it causes. This is what it leads to, right?
Exactly. So now, with some of this, I want to speak about your garden, and then I want to talk about the areas where you go and volunteer. And I do understand that you have some products. Yep. So let's see if we can get some of that in. When you're doing your volunteering, share with me when I first knew of the fact that you were volunteering was when you were going out and feeding the hungry. Your group was a Unity of Faith, and I was with you. Is that the correct terminology?
Unity as well.
Unity is wealth. Yeah. Thank you. Unity is wealth. So, and that was our birthday. That was my birthday date with you.
Okay.
Yeah, we went out and we were going through and feeding the hungry, and I was really, really just excited and astonished at all of my terminology, millennials.
Yeah.
Young people from the ages of 25 to like 35, literally serious about what it was they were doing. And then I've seen you guys going into cleanup programs where you guys once a month will pick a certain area. And we're here from Houston, just in case if someone is watching this is here in Houston. Going out in different communities and actually doing cleanup for the entire day. I've seen you bring the girls in. She has a 10-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old daughter. I've seen that to initially come about. So when you are doing the volunteer with the gardens, share with that information.
Yeah, so the 2 volunteer projects that I are ongoing with is one, like you said, Unity as well. And what that is an organization where, like you said, millenniums, and we believe in circulating the dollar. And so basically it's thinking of bringing back in building our own community, right? So being able to, all of us are entrepreneurs, first of all. Everybody has their own business within that group. And then when I say we rotate the dollar, understanding group economics. So being able to bring back in Black Wall Street, you know.
Understood.
Right, and even with that, we go out and we help our communities. We help our underprivileged communities. Like you said, we go out to the communities that people forget about, the underprivileged, and we go out and clean them up, just showing, hey, you know, we care about the community. We really want to bring the heartbeat and having people to understand, hey, we can do this. We can go back out, and that's one.
And what's the other one?
And the second one is Beauty's Community Garden. And Beauty's Community Garden is also an organization that it's a nonprofit organization, and it is an actual garden that's inside of what is Studiowood here. Some people know it as the Heights, the Heights within Houston, and that actually is one of the first Black communities within Houston, Texas, and it's what is called a food desert area. And a food desert area is a neighborhood that is deprived of natural sources of food.
Wow.
Right, and so we have those in so many different spots in Houston, and it's very, very important to be able to nourish our community by having sustainable, having holistic foods, or having natural foods, no pesticides or anything of that nature.
This goes back and brings me back to mind when your big mama, in the community where I was raised, that's basically how things were. In our community, it was a self-sufficient community, and neighbors depended upon neighbors, and sometimes there was some bargaining, that would end up happening. If I have this and you have this, I need this, and so even goes back to the country when one household may be raising a lot of greens and peas or whatever, and somebody else decided, okay, I'm going to do some sheep or some whatever, and so then when it came time for butchering, then these things were shared back and forth. So this is pretty neat that you guys are going back into something that is just literally our roots. This is awesome. This is truly awesome. So briefly, if you will, share with me, how did you get to this particular point that you decided this was something that you really need to be able to do? What was the life-changing element that I may ask of?
So life-changing, food was always there, like I said, right? So life-changing, when before I found out that I was pregnant with my second child, was really when I started honing in on things. And then once I found out I was pregnant with her, I had a list of wants from the doctor to the doctor, how I wanted my pregnancy to turn out.
Right.
And so if people say, well, what is that? Like, I did not want the lights on. I wanted to be able to stand while giving birth. And that was because the first pregnancy I had a lot of complications.
Right.
I had a lot of complications before and after. So that second one, I was like, no, I'm going to do holistic, because I was already in that practice, as much as possible to make sure that I can give a healthy baby and I can be healthy for myself. The doctors told me no, and so I was like, I'm going to figure this out one way or another.
So you chose to do?
Yeah, I chose a doula, and I chose a midwife, and I had a water birth.
Okay, great. Now, let's get into the water birth area. I remember coming into the room, and of course, it was dark and it was very tranquil. It was very peaceful. And so, in the birthing process, what was the difference that you noticed with baby 2 in the birthing process as to baby 1?
For one, medicine. Western medicine was used in the first pregnancy. So I had epidural, I had different type of pain pills, which led me to be addicted to different types of pain medicine after. And that if you want to just lip it in a nutshell, medicine.
Right.
So the first one, of course, was Western medicine that I ended up using. The second one, no quote unquote medicine. I did everything as far as holistic as possible. I went to herbal blends and teas. I looked at essential oils. I looked at mental mindset workshops to help me to remove the thought process of pain or whatever pain
and just
was,
relax,
right?
Yeah.
So went back to the basics.
Yeah.
To end up helping me.
Cool. And I want to even share with the situation with the essential oils. As you have been learning, you have been teaching me, and I am very, very excited about it, because I never have been one to take medicines, and even when you guys were growing up, that was something that I did not, it had to be just at the very last that ended up giving me that. So I've even noticed that if I have a headache, I'm getting the peppermint oil and putting, a little bit on the temple, and within a few seconds, that situation is going. So I truly, truly like that. So let's get with if I may jump a little bit, let's go to your garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you shared with me the fact that you were getting ready to do a garden, I got so tickled, because I said, if your big papa were here, he would have been just too thrilled. So share with us, what do you have growing in your garden, in your backyard?
So, I have corn. My daughter loves corn. She hasn't transitioned all the way. I like the uses of the stalk, the hull of the corn,
Okay.
because you can use that for medicinal purposes, right? And a
The-
lot of people don't even know.
The hull,
Right. So that when you get ready to pull off the corn,
Yeah.
the
the silk and
yeah.
everything.
You
Oh,
can
cool.
use that as a tea blend or a tincture blend.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I have corn, I have okra,
Spinach.
yeah, I have buku spinach, and my baby herbs. I have all different types of herbs to make my personal own tinctures and blends that I then sell to the public.
And then what is the word tinctures?
So tinctures is where I take different herbs
Mm-hmm.
and then I place them into a closed area or closed jar sealing,
Mm-hmm.
and I can use different types of bases. So let's just say apple cider vinegar, and it ferments. And the longer it stays, it pulls out the flavors, it pulls out the oils.
So it's like a curing type situation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, you can. Yeah.
And so when this initially happens for whatever time frame, what am I going to do with the product?
So it just depends on that particular tincture that you're using.
Okay.
A lot of people, let's think about for the cold season.
Yes.
People know that you can take garlic to help with your colds, right? So if you just infuse a lot of different garlics into a tincture blend, then you can take that blend and you could just drop it, right? Or you can place it inside of water to drink it. And that is a lot more potent than actually taking the ginger itself, right? The longer it stays, the better.
Yeah, because it's getting stronger. Yeah, it's getting All right, so let's talk about the products. We have some products today.
So today I brought out, this is one of the top sellers here. This is sea moss.
Okay.
Right, and a lot of people are starting to know about it.
Let me just hold it up here so while you're talking, and I'm noticing here there's a recipe that you have on here.
Yeah.
And this is something that you have prepared yourself. I'm even seeing where it says add 2 tablespoons of sea moss gel when preparing a smoothie, if you're going to do a smoothie. And then once this particular item is open, we're going to refrigerate it. I even noticed that you have it dated. And you're giving the information of how long it should stay in the refrigerator.
Yeah. So sea moss is actually a nutrient, right? It's a plant based, a seaweed, and that particular seaweed is amazing because it gives us 92 of the 102 minerals that our body needs.
Whoa. Okay. Let's back up for a second. Our body needs
102 minerals on a day-to-day basis.
Daily.
So that's your zinc, that's your vitamin C, that's
and there's
your
no way when we eat we can't.
Right, and there isn't, unless you're just going out making sure that you are properly providing the nutrients to your body,
right,
or even the what we'll consider the vitamins that's inside of the cabinet. Most of the time you don't even get that because of the capsules. They sit in your stomach and it doesn't dissolve. But this particular plant, once it's constructed and blended correctly, you then get your nutrients. So you can take that by mouth, just a spoonful. You can enter it into smoothies, juices, soups. It's also great for your face, again, because it has the minerals that's needed.
So it's all natural.
So it's all natural. You can use it for just about anything.
We have a few more minutes to be able to go, and I don't want people not to get your information.
Yeah.
So if you will, let's look into the camera and be able to slowly share with them your name and how they can get in contact with you. Is there a phone number or website or anything like that? Go ahead and share with our viewing audiences.
To get in contact with me to find out more what I do and how I service the community, you can find me at www.chef, C-H-E-F, Chris, C-R-Y-S, Himes, H-I-M as in Mary, E-S.com. So that's www.chefchrishimes.com, and all the information is there. You can find out about me. You can find out what upcoming events I have, what webinars, what classes, and what products that I have to sell.
And let me share, if I may, one of the the items that you have made for us at home. I just love it, and I just tell people about it. And that is where you do two things I like. Where you toast the seaweed with the little sprinkles, and we have seaweed chips instead of potato chips. Yep. And the other thing that I like is where you do the salad, where you have the base with the seaweed that's on there and what have you.
Yeah.
So share with that, because it's a instead of using lettuce, you use some marinated where it's soaked seaweed, and then kale, mm-hmm. And then what are the other ingredients that you place on top of it?
So quinoa and avocado and all of these things they will be able to find on the website. So I do have recipes that they can purchase or ebooks that they can purchase, and it'll be all there.
Okay, terrific. Well, Chef Chris, thank you very much for coming out and sharing. This has been indeed a pleasure. This has been definitely educational. We never get too old to learn, and being able to go back to our roots is so awesome. I want to share with each and every one of you, if there are some things that's going on with your body and you want to have more knowledge, this is a perfect way to begin to start transitioning into a new, healthier way of life, something that's natural. It's you won't have to be spending an extremely amount of money on different things, where you're actually taking something and you can grow in a pot in your own house or a little area in the backyard. What Chef Chris did was actually took some pallets and used those with some burlap sacks and began to grow her herbs from there. So I want to thank you. Again, thank you so much for being with us on this particular week. And for you, the viewing audience, thank you for walking down with me the path travel. I am Lady V. Stay tuned for next week, where we will have Mr. Harold Terrell, where he will come in and giving some additional vitamins that we can take that's going to be able to help to build our immune system. So look forward to seeing you on next week. And Chef, thank you so very much for being here. It has been a pleasure. All right, we'll see you on next week at Walking the Path Travel, here with me, with Lady V.
Tune in to Moments with Cynthia, Sundays at 7 p.m. on Rhema Word Television. Tune in to